You are now listening to the Cinnamon and Sugar Podcast featuring D'Angelo Williams and Gary Barnage. You push play and they'll push the limits.
Hey, it's your boy Thyme here, and we are back with another episode of the Cinnamon and Sugar Podcast. Ooh, D'Angelo, I am furious with you. And we will get to that when we talk about my weekend. But first, let's hear how y'all's weekend was.
I'll let D go first. Since I usually go first, I'll let him go first.
Well, I didn't really do anything this weekend. I went on a bike ride with the wife. There was a bike ride called Tour de Turns. There was a lot of turns, and I rode with her because she committed to doing 500 miles in 4 days in May of next year, where we're biking to DC. And I don't know if she's gonna truly do it, but she said she is. So we'll see.
That might have been the littlest D's ever talked about his weekend.
Yeah, because I didn't do anything this weekend. I
don't know if we're gonna be able to finish.
I think this just turned into the sugar show. Usually it's the cinnamon show, but I guess he's over it. Huh? Okay. All right. Well, I guess I'll take over then. Well, my weekend wasn't very eventful. I really didn't do anything interesting. I had nobody come over, no hangouts. I had a couple fantasy drafts. We had a game. So I didn't really do much. I know Thyme had a really exciting weekend, so I'm interested to hear what his was about.
Wow. First of all, rude to everybody that came and visited your sorry self this weekend. But first, you know what? Let's start off with this. My weekend, as everybody knows because of last week, your boy Thyme went to go visit Gary in the complex. But let's talk about when I first get there, because you know what? We're going to watch Gary's team, and you know what? I wanted to scout out Gary's team to see what was going to be, what the deal's going to be this year. And D'Angelo, I have to tell you, you're in trouble. You are in trouble because they were up 45-0 at the half on this team. And I'm talking about this team, the team they played against, everybody that was on there looked like they could probably play for Alabama. So that's to tell you the truth right there. So Gary's team put these boys to shame by halftime, so much so that Thyme went and sat in the truck for the rest of the game.
He did. He sat in the truck and watched poker on his phone instead of supporting me.
Supporting the butt whooping? Come on now. So D, I want to hear how you feel about this. Do you feel like you're in trouble after hearing about how Gary's team dominated this team full of probably D1 athletes?
No, because I got the scouting report on this team that they played. This team that they played didn't have many players on their team, and
that was the week before.
Yeah, you guys are projected to beat this team by 35, correct?
I don't know. I don't read the news.
Oh, now you don't. Now he doesn't read the news. Now he doesn't read the news. We knew for a fact that Gary going into this first week, that it was going to be easy for them, that they padded their schedule from a standpoint of, we're going to play guys that are not good so we can feel good about ourselves going into playing guys that are good and hopefully have enough momentum to get us through the season. That's what Gary's and them coaching strategy is, I feel, is going into this season. But I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work.
All I know is right now we're $500 richer.
Yeah, right now, you guys are $500 richer. Congratulations, you've won one game. How did the running back do? I wanted to know how the running back did because
I think he had like 12 touchdowns.
I want to know. I want to know what kind of team they are, Tom. Because I mean, are they one of those teams that throw the ball a lot? Are they one of those teams that run the ball a lot? Can you see any promise in this team, knowing that the team that they was playing is literally at the bottom of the barrel?
All right, so to give you my fair assessment of this team they were playing, the team they were playing literally looked like they walked off of a field trip to Chuck E. Cheese and accidentally ended up at a football game in high school. They were all so tiny. They had a couple of big players, on the other team, but it's just like you could tell they were outmatched from the time they stepped off the bus. But I will say the running back, like you talked about last week, he obviously stood out because – just no one on their team could keep up with him. So I don't think it was a good match to or a good game to judge like how their potential is, other than when they should dominate, they did, because the running back literally, he probably had like 9 or 10 touchdowns, but like 3 or 4 of them got called back for holding penalties. But they were holding. They called holding because the people were pancaking the people so bad. What did you say, Gary? The refs were saying they were throwing them to the ground.
Yeah, he threw him. He threw him to the ground, but it's a pancake. That's what a pancake is. You fall on top of the guy, and he got called for a hold.
Damn, man, y'all that bad that the refs are not used to seeing pancake blocks? That they're used to being hoes? Like, dang, Gary.
Hey, I'm
Like,
just
look at where
saying.
we come. Look where we are.
All
Look
I
where we are.
know, hey, we are 500. Middleburg is $500 richer, so we're on the right path, and that's all that matters.
So this is
On to
what I want
next
to make
week.
sure. This is what I want to compare this to, Tom, and I really want you to think about this. They say the best football that you could get is in Florida. Speed, athleticism,
I thought that was
all of
Texas.
all of that, right? Well, Florida and Texas, they have that little qualm about who
So
Uh-huh.
put out better
honestly,
athletes.
in all honesty, is there's three states, and every year it changes. There's California, there's Texas, and Florida, and every year it can go either one has the better athletes.
Right. But you would think, my whole point is you would think that with all the talent that these three states possess, that even the bottom of the barrel would be good. No. The bottom of the barrel is the bottom of the barrel, whether you're in Florida, California, Texas, Montana, Pennsylvania. It doesn't matter. The bottom of the barrel is the bottom of the barrel, regardless of how good of athletes that you put in or you put out. And with that being said, this bottom of the barrel in Florida is absolutely terrible. So yeah, Middleburg got a long way to go. They got a long way to go. They should enjoy this win, pat each other's on the back, because they may not get too many more of these.
I can't wait to get this money from you.
I tell you what was funny though, D'Angelo. You know how it is at high school football games. The fans are wild, right? Well, you can tell that these fans are new to winning, right? Because they're up 35-0, and a touchdown gets called back for a hold, and these people are yelling at the ref like it's a 7-6 game, and that their world is about to end because of this hold that just happened. Not only that, but the other team was so bad, right? I don't think on offense, I don't think they moved the ball more than 10 yards. I'd be shocked on like just their regular offense if they
They
moved
had
it.
they had negative 57 yards total offense.
Right. Exactly.
Are you shitting me, Gary?
I am not.
Exactly.
What are we doing here, bro? What are we
So,
doing here?
Hey,
so
Why
I
are
do
we
my
even
job.
talking
I
about
do
this
my
on this
job.
podcast?
Hey,
Why are
I'm
we
just
even talking about this on this podcast?
because I'm $500 up for my school. That's why.
and D,
Bro,
And
let me tell you
and
this.
Time is talking about his weekend. Don't interrupt his weekend. He had a joyful weekend, so let him talk about it.
And let me tell you this, D'Angelo. This is the other part that had me wilding out. So the one time that the other team did get any kind of momentum, right? I want to say they were up, pretty handily already at this point, but they had a kickoff return where the kid, snuck through, and it got down to him and the kicker, and somehow the kicker was able to stop him enough until somebody could come tackle him, and they're at like the 10-yard line, right? Well, their
yeah.
cheerleaders are over there so excited that they're this close. Every time they touch the ball, their cheerleaders just start going crazy, like, come on, like, you can do it. And I heard a mom behind me say, "Why are y'all cheering so much? He's not going to get in." I'm like, are you serious? This is what we're
Oh
doing, right?
man, Middleburg's a powerhouse,
So I
Gary.
will say
Middleburg's a powerhouse.
little side story. Time was a little upset with me on because when I picked him up from the airport, I told him I had to stop and get pants.
I was coming to that.
Oh, I didn't know. I
Oh
thought he
yeah, I'm
skipped
coming.
over it, so
No,
I'll
I'm
let him
coming to
tell it.
that. I'm coming to that. So, yeah, because that was going to wrap up into my next part where I talk
Okay.
about how rich Gary is, but at the same time, how big of a penny pitcher this man is. It's hilarious. So, I'm all excited to come see the complex because I've heard about, how much stuff Gary has at his house. And everybody knows that listen to this podcast that Gary's rich, right?
No, not at all. Nobody knows that because it's not true.
This man says, I got to go stop and get some dress pants. I'm talking about some black slacks or some khakis, right? So here I am. I think, okay, we're about to go to the mall, some sort of department store, to get this man some pants. Tell me this man pulls up into a Goodwill looking
Yeah, you don't know Gary.
for black pants.
You don't know Gary.
And not only that, Gary's 7 foot tall, and he's talking about something. Well, I need a pair of 34s, but these 32s will work. Like
lengthwise, yeah, because they were not long enough. I had high waters on.
I was like, are you really about to buy some high waters to wear this whole season just because you too penny pincher to go get some that you can actually fit? That's
welcome to Gary. Welcome to Gary's world. You're now in Gary's world where there's nothing wrong with it at all. There's nothing wrong with it all, but you just don't expect him to do things like that, right? Like because of what he's shown you before, and you pull up and you're just like, oh, well, what the hell are we doing here? We picking somebody up.
Right. I said, are we going back for another WrestleMania challenge where I got to go get dressed up to go to this game?
And his thought process is I'm only wearing this for coaching.
Right.
Why should I go spend some money on something that I'm not going to
I wear basketball shorts otherwise, or as you see right now, Powerpuff Girls. Like, it's not like I just wear whatever.
So this ties into Gary's penny pension, ties into what I'm about to talk about and why I'm mad at you, D'Angelo. I asked you last week specifically, what do I need to bring to Gary's house when I go?
Everything.
You didn't tell me. You didn't tell me I need to bring my own food if I want to make sure I'm going to eat while I'm there. You didn't tell me I need to bring a fan to put by my bed so that I can keep it cool at night because this man going to keep it at 76 degrees in the house.
Oh, bro.
He's lying. I had put it on 74 and everybody's crying because there's 12 people in there and everybody's breathing with their mouth wide open, getting all the hot air in there. And as soon as like 5 people leave, everybody's like, oh, it's cold. Well, I haven't touched the AC. It's because everybody closed their mouth.
We were sweating the first night. I'm talking about 3 of us came up the next morning talking about how we were all sweating. It was 76 in that house.
No, it was not. Let me clarify. 2 of the guys that said they were sweating, they were in a separate room with their own access to AC and they didn't turn it on. That's on them. I don't turn it on if I'm not in there.
Look, I don't know if y'all watched it.
You're saying this. I have to do this every time I go to Dee's house. I don't even. So the whole basement's like 90 degrees, and I'm sleeping in it.
So D'Angelo ain't got no sympathy because he's the same way.
No, Tom. You gotta understand this, bro. Every time I go to Gary's house, I let him know, like, hey, Gary, me and my family, we are coming over to your house. He was like, okay, all right, I'm ready for y'all. We get there, there ain't no sheets on the bed.
That's
it ain't no toilet paper in the bathroom. It ain't no soap. It ain't. I'm like, damn, Gary, you knew we was coming, man. He was like, oh yeah, I ain't been up here in months. But what? Wait, what? What the hell you mean you ain't been up here? You said you was ready for us though.
I was ready for you to be at the house. Correct.
Yeah, like he went up there and checked. You know, when you go to your single female friend house, it probably it's Febreze, sheets on the bed, they tight.
Right.
Look like you staying at a hotel. No, not Gary's house. You
so
got
I will say
shit in his house. You got.
I will say
real.
Just for reference, every time I stay at Dee's house, I slept in the basement on this couch. Right? They know how much I love this couch. Like this couch is the real deal. Love it. I'll choose to sleep on that couch every time versus the bed. Right? Well, what happens next? The one time I come up, sorry, we're gonna move the couch up to our bedroom so we can use it.
Oh,
knowing that's my bed.
Wow.
Hey, we're going to put you on this other bed right here, this other couch. It's not as good, but you can deal with it. So, and he wondered why it's called retaliation. He just doesn't know.
Knowing that.
That's what's going on. That's what's going on. He's secretly mad at me because I moved a very comfortable couch to my room so I can utilize it and use it more. But he would rather me leave it in the basement. Every time he comes here,
yes.
You see what this is what I got to put up with. This is what I got.
It wasn't that comfortable. You left it in the basement for the longest time beforehand.
Oh, it's true. Well,
You allowed me to get used to that couch.
D, here's the other thing. Gary is definitely the quintessential bachelor. I walk in, this man has 20 boxes of like super packs of oodles of noodles.
He knows. He
Yeah.
saw them.
Yeah, I took a couple packs with me when I left his house so I could taste the flavors because I'd never tasted them before. I was like, damn, Gary, what is this? He was like, I don't know. People said they were good, and he got them.
So you want to know where that came from? That came because of D. I was over at his house recently, and he ate some ramen, and I'm like, dang, I want some ramen now. And I got home, and we didn't have any ramen. I was like, man, I need to order some ramen. So I ordered ramen. So now I have ramen.
All the ramen, and he had like 5 different full boxes of candy bars.
I did. Those just got in the mail. I do like to have sweets every once in a while, but they'll last for months because I don't eat them a lot. It's just to have. So in case I want it, I have it.
I love it, but
you saw where I live. I live out in the middle of nowhere. You ain't going.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. There's not a grocery store nearby. There ain't no food nearby. So whatever you come with,
whatever you come with is what you got, bro. Is what you got. That's what you. Yeah, don't know ride share. Sir, nothing comes out to Gary's house. Nothing.
Right.
Alligators don't come out to his house. Don't know. Nothing comes out to his house. Nothing.
Well, I was highly upset with you about not warning me because I've lost 5 pounds just from not being able to eat this weekend.
Oh, let me clarify. So we eat wings. We get 200 wings. Okay. He eats or whatever. Literally 8 minutes later, hey, you don't got any food? I'm starving. You just
was not
ate
8
wings.
minutes later. That's such a
Hold up, Gary. How many people was it?
12.
That's not enough.
Sorry, 11. It was 11.
11 people, 200 wings.
Correct.
I mean, if you can eat 40 yourself.
And it was more than that. It was more than that because you had one of your friends had a wife and kids there. So they ate a little bit. Your mom.
They didn't eat any.
I mean, your dad and your dad's girlfriend ate a little bit.
They didn't eat any of it. And plus,
now the truth coming out. Now the truth is coming out.
I only
the truth's
ate
coming out
because they were spicy.
But what the real story is? So we ate that right after we got back from golfing, right? And so that's probably.
Whoa, hold up. Y'all want to play golf?
Hold on. You can't say Thyme played golf because he played 9 holes and then he sat on his phone and played poker instead of playing back 9.
Yeah, I was over it.
He got too hot.
What made y'all want to go play? Hold up.
Gary's.
Let's start this all the way back over. Tom, why did you go visit Gary?
Because we were supposed to be doing our fancy draft and hang out, and I wanted to see his complex. So I was down for chilling at the house the whole time. But Gary has found this new love for golf that he wanted to show all of his friends how much better he's gotten.
Gary can't play golf.
Oh, I learned that. Clarify. I shot my best round I ever shot this week.
And it was still a shit show.
No, and then I went and played like the worst round I've ever played with everybody else. That is legit what happened.
He was so excited to show everybody because he had just had his best round of golf and then he shot his worst round of golf.
So nobody can vouch for the fact that
there was one person. There was one person that was there. He went with me earlier in the week because he got there early and he golfed with me early in the morning and he saw me shoot a 97, a legit 97, and then I went and shot a 130, which is the worst I've ever shot in my life.
I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
I know, but everybody that does play golf will know. That's what matters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so let's just put it like this, D. I'm not a golf fan. So I'm good for about 9 holes, and then eventually I just get tired of chasing my ball all the way around. So I'm just like, F it, I'm just gonna ride.
I just don't know. I don't know how this was the game of choice that y'all chose to choose to have fun. This sounds awful.
A lot of us play golf.
So Gary had a couple of his friends that play, and then you got our carts, which was full of people that can't hit the ball straight to save their lives, really. So we were destined for failure the whole day. But you know what? And this is the worst part. It rained in the morning, which brought out the humidity because that sun came out afternoon, and so it was hot and humid and it was miserable. And I was like, I'd much rather be chilling in the 82 pool right now, hanging out.
let's clarify. As soon as we got back, he went out in that heat and played basketball.
Okay, I'm a
So don't
hooper.
let him lie.
Hold on. Where did he go play basketball at? He outside on your
Yeah.
on your court. Oh, okay.
But when
All
I
right,
say
yeah.
play, he just played horse. But he was out in the
Uh,
heat, and he was fine with it then. But when it was golf, he wasn't.
Right. Well, because that's
uh,
different. 'Cause I'm doing something that is actually fun.
okay. I respect it. I respect it. So overall, what did you think of Gary's compound?
So, God, he's so rich, it's crazy.
Yeah, he-
So,
I try to tell people. I try to tell
Wait
people.
till you go to D's. His puts mine to shame.
I try to tell you, man. The man is so rich. He's so rich.
and the thing is,
I
he
am
went.
rich in spirit, baby. Rich in spirit.
Hey, I love it. I love it. He went. But the thing is, he wouldn't let me. He wouldn't let me bowl because he said it was going to be too loud, but he had to show me that the lights turned off and that it was like neon. And I was like, "How you going to do this to me and not even let me go down there and play?" Like,
Oh wow.
No, the real truth is he didn't want to go down the stairs and had to come back up.
that's not the
Wow.
real truth. And then D, tell me this. So, wow. Well, so we're walking through. He's giving me the tour. He's like got all these hidden doors in his house that lead to hidden rooms and observatories. So he's got like it's like a maze in that house. I don't know how your kids don't go in there and get lost. I
Well,
mean, it never happened.
what you gotta do is you gotta get familiar with one or two rooms at a time. You can't take it all in at one time because
Right.
it's just way too many rooms. And what's crazy is when he took me on the tour, because it's a tour. It's not like a hey, I'm gonna show you where you staying at. And like he really has a Beauty and the Beast house. Like, hey, don't go on the West Wing.
Right.
Like, yeah, like he really has
I
one of those type
wish.
of houses. Like, yeah, the only thing he doesn't have is that rose in there and the petals falling off and him being a beast.
Right.
That's the
Right.
only thing that's different from that. But everything else, oh, it's 100%. Like you go into one room, you like, oh, this is dope. And then like there's three other ways to get into that same room, and you keep coming through the same. You're like, damn, didn't we? Wasn't we just here?
Right.
But
Exactly.
it's
You
yeah,
need
yeah,
you
I
need a
know.
map.
Right.
And
And then you're going up these stairs, down these stairs, and
Well, I
there's
offered him a map when he walked in. He said, I don't need it.
yeah, there's
right.
14 balconies that all look over a pool, and
Right.
each pool is different. You just
And he's
like,
got
damn,
two
how many
pools.
pools you got? Like,
Two
yeah,
pools. But his
right.
thing,
Yeah.
he got a hot tub that don't work. I'm like,
It works. Hold on. It
I was
works.
told
It
it
just
don't
doesn't have
work.
gas right now. That's the reason why
Oh,
you can turn it. You can do everything besides heat it up because there's no gas right now.
Yeah,
oh,
and then through conversation you really find out how rich he is, because you're just like, yeah,
Spirit.
he has a pool that he don't use. Like, dang, like how is that a thing where you just like look at a pool and be like, I don't like that pool, I'm gonna build another one, not change the pool that you already got, you're just gonna build another one.
so
Well,
D, this is what was
see the
funny.
pool. It's feet long and 5 feet wide, and you can't do anything in that area to make it bigger.
Yeah, that's true. He did need to put the pool somewhere else. But so back to when we're talking about eating, right? So we went golfing. We got home probably like 2:30, 3 o'clock, somewhere in that range. We ate wings then, and then we draft. By the time the draft's over, it's like 9:30, and that's when I'm like, "Oh, I could eat again." So it's not talking about some 8 minutes later, lying. And then this is what Gary goes. He goes, "I only eat twice a day.
I do.
When I
That's
wake
legit.
up,
I
and
eat twice a day.
if my dad cooks me something."
Oh yeah, yeah,
I,
bro.
when I wake up and then I eat dinner, and that's it.
He didn't tell you how when I was over there, and Gary know this to be the truth. Me and his father was sitting outside and we were talking, and I talk to his father all the time. He is seriously one of my favorite people in the world. But he said something to me the other day that I stopped talking to him, walked out on our conversation, and I was like, "Look, dude, don't say nothing else to me." And all he could do was laugh. Uh, I'm not going to talk about it on the podcast because Gary might not want me to talk about it on the podcast. But it was funny because you've been there, right? How many days did you stay there, Tom?
So technically 2 nights, I guess. So not
You
very
was
long.
there for you was there for 2 nights. So you
Mm-hmm.
stayed at the Gary compound for 2 nights.
Yep.
How often or how many times and how long did you see his father while you was there?
So I saw his dad from afar out the window, and then the only other time I saw him was when he came in to get wings. And Gary, first of all, Gary didn't even introduce us. Rude.
No, he'll never introduce nobody to nobody. Like none of the friends, like none of the new friends. Like he
Right.
come in, he was like, "Hey, this is the people, or these are the
Well,
people." I
for
was
one, there's 11 people. My dad's not going to remember all your names, so there's no point.
So yeah. So go ahead.
so right. You saw him for all of whatever, right?
Right. Not very much.
So how would you classify? Does Gary dad live with him, or is Gary dad a neighbor?
I mean,
Let's keep it real here. Like when he says that his dad lived with him, does his dad truly live with him, bro?
well, the only thing that I would say is because he does use his dad's for Cairo a lot. It seems like if he's going somewhere, he'll put him in there with his dad. So that I think that's the connection. But yeah, he does kind of seem more like a neighbor that lives in the house over.
Bro, so you have to, if you want to catch his father, and this is what I have to do. Instead of me having to call him or like sit there and stalk him, you got to walk past that pool table, bro, and you got to look out that door to see like, oh, okay. And it's usually like Demeter will come out first, and then you're like, okay, all right, well, I give it about 10 or 15 more minutes, and then dad'll pop his head out, and then you won't see him again.
Right.
And you don't know if he's at home or if he left.
Right.
But that's the same way with Gary, because Gary can leave, and you just like, oh well, he went to his room, and he could be gone for 2 hours, and he could be just at the store, and you like, damn, bro, you left.
Right.
That's how far Gary lives from civilization.
Mm-hmm.
D, I got a question for you. I need you to. It's still dealing with the same realm of about me, whatever. So then we're gonna change that subject. If I asked you and said, "Hey, D, get a flight, but don't get a flight early in the morning," what time you getting a flight?
I'm gonna get a flight at like 1 or 2 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. I tell Thyme, hey, don't get an early flight. He gets a flight at 9:15 in the morning. Are you kidding me?
The hell is that? What are you?
Well, he said don't make it too early. So too early to me is like a 7
That's
o'clock.
9:15.
Okay, but hey, in Time's defense though, Gary, I know you when you say early because I know when you go to sleep, when you wake up.
Are
Not
you
like
telling
I'm
me
stalking
Thyme
you.
doesn't know?
I didn't know that he's
We've
not.
talked about
does.
multiple
He does.
times me not getting up till 10:30.
He does. He does.
And I had to get up at 7:15.
Oh, poor thing. I just wanted to keep your streak alive of your getting
But
up.
I do have a question. This is something that I thought about while I was driving to practice this week, and I wanted to bring it up on the podcast. I had a question for y'all. Y'all both have kids.
If you're about to get into the auction, don't do that yet because I got one more thing I want to bring up about my visit to your house.
God, okay, I'll wait.
Because this is the last thing I want to talk about. This ties into Gary being rich. D, have you ever tried to work? Well, it's actually two things. First of all, I burned my butt on his toilet because he has a heated bidet seat. That's how rich he is. His toilet seat stays.
Hold on.
A bidet is literally $80 on. You can buy it off Amazon. Get out of here.
What was it? Which bathroom was this in? Because I've never.
That's his bathroom.
What?
Okay, I never let you use that one.
Oh, wait till I tell. Oh, I gotta tell the wife you got a bidet. We have been to his house 1,000 times and never known that he had a heated toilet in his bathroom. He rich. He rich.
A bidet is $80 on Amazon. Get out of here.
That one's $800 for sure.
No,
have you ever tried to work his shower? You walk into his shower. His shower is about the size of my living room. First of all.
Whoa, hold up. He gave you the option to use his shower?
Oh yeah, that's the one he told me to use.
You've gave your kids baths in my tub before.
Hey, D, he never let you use his shower. Wow.
Always welcome to it.
This is a horrible way to find out that I'm really low on that total ball. Shit. Is this what we got going on, Gary? Is there something else you want to tell me, bro?
I hate you.
That's that uncomfortable laugh of it. You hear time? That's that hella uncomfortable.
Because I've said multiple times y'all have used my bath for the kids before.
But go ahead, Tom, because I want to hear about this magical shower that you took.
Well, yeah, because he took me to his massage room first, where he has his personal massage therapist, and he got
one of those too.
Wait, you ain't never been in that one?
Ah,
I
boy,
wish.
I tell you the truth. Boy, he turned it up for y'all, man. Go ahead. This is awesome. This is awesome, though.
So you go into Gary's shower. It's about the size of a normal person's living room, first of all. But
Okay.
there's like 5 handles on the wall because you got one that controls a regular looking shower spigot over here. You got one that controls one that shoots water out horizontally at you, and then one
I'm
that
telling
controls
you right now,
the
Ty.
Amazon rainforest shower.
Time. I'm turning all 5 of them damn switches on, bro. Because I know I ain't got them in my house. I'm finna experiment and I'm finna tell the wife and the kids and whoever that's gonna listen, like, look, I just took the most magical shower ever.
Right.
I just turned handles and shit came on and I took a shower.
Exactly. Because I
Did
was
did
like,
he have a handle to shoot the soap on you? Like I ain't know if he that rich, rich. You
no,
that
I didn't
rich?
see any handle soap shooters.
Oh, okay, okay.
Wow. So yeah. So that was my experience. I was befuddled by that shower. So I was like, I need a YouTube tutorial on how to get this shower turned on.
That's I'm proud of you, Gary. Because I've never used this shower. I think I've been in his bathroom one time, and he allowed
Shoot.
me to be in his bathroom that one time because we were kind of in a rush, and I needed to have a conversation with him, and he allowed me into his room,
I
and I
don't
was
want to hear
really
that
excited
nonsense.
about that. So I mean, if you've showered and Gary showered, I mean, he like you.
Okay, Gary, go ahead and tell us your question you had pop up.
So my question is relevant to both of you because you both have kids, and I had a call about an NFT company that does NFT stuff, and I was just thinking out loud, like to myself, well, NFTs, I don't really understand them. People sell things, sell pictures and stuff like that. So I was just thinking to myself, well, what if somebody offered the right to name their child? So that is where the question came from. So my question is, would you be willing to auction off the right to name your child? And if so, what amount of money would have to be hit for you to allow it to happen?
No stipulations at all on the name that you can
None,
choose.
no stipulations. They can change the name when they hit 18. That's the only
Oh,
stipulation.
100%. Yeah, I'm letting that thing ride. I got to deal with it for 18 years. I'll let
But
it ride.
what amount of money would it cost for you to allow it to happen?
Oh, it wouldn't
That's the
be
key.
much. I'm gonna be honest. It wouldn't be much. It wouldn't be much at all. I'll for 100 for 6 figures. For 6 figures, you can name my kid for 18 years. 100%. I can do that for 6 figures. I'm talking about like I'm I'm being realistic here. I'm talking about for $125,000, I'll let you name my kid for 18 years. Being realistic.
But then ask him that follow up question, Gary, because you say that, but then he
So
says, "What do you say to your child when they come up to you when they're like 13 and say, Dad, why am I named, you
so and
know,
so. So
what?"
like
Oh,
you,
I'm okay with that, and this is the reason why I say $125,000. I am paying for their college funds right now. Like you can go through all the hell of what they call you and the naming and all that, but just know that you're going to college, whether you want to or not. So with $125,000, and I'm talking about tax free,
correct.
that'll be enough by the time you're 18 to you'll be able to go to school. Everything will be taken care of, and it'll be well worth the name and the name that you have and the shit that you've been through and that you've gone through to get to the point where you are because you've already paid for it.
So my question is, then why so low?
Why so
Why
low?
why not go for like 500,000?
I because that's not really realistic though.
So
Like
so
I mean, now you have to understand though, Gary. Uh, we're not talking to people that are like that that millionaires is like something that they operate and they deal with. I'm talking about like if I was somebody that needed some money or wanted some money, $125,000 to name a kid. I mean, people do way worse shit left for less than that.
no, I agree. But that was my so the whole thing was like, so imagine if Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston, Angelina Jolie in general, just naming these. Imagine if one of them said, "Hey, I'm going to auction the right off to name my child, and all the proceeds go to charity." How much money do you think they would make?
Okay, so now you're talking about a
That's a
celebrity.
different
I
aspect.
thought
Yes.
you
No, but I'm saying
right,
in
right,
general
right, right.
because if you think about it, for a business, like if a business said, "Hey, we want your name, your kid's name to be Taco Bell," that's for them. That's cheap compared to advertisings. If somebody's out there,
Yeah,
their name
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
Okay,
So
okay,
like
okay. I see what you're saying. You're
a
talking about for
business,
marketing purposes.
yeah, because
You're
I
talking
would
about for
think
marketing.
business.
Oh yeah. It's
I
gonna be a
think
lot.
marketing purposes, businesses would be willing to pay a lot more than the average person because for them, that's free advertise. It's not free, but it's free for 18 years basically. You pay one upfront fee and you're done.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be way more. It's gonna be way more than that. But I just thought you was talking about just like if I wanted to
No, it'd
name.
be. I say it'd be open to anybody, but I would think businesses would chime in. You might find random people that would chime in, and in that, like my thing is, I don't think people like if it got up to $1 million, I don't think anybody's gonna spend 200, $300,000 just to waste on a terrible name like a cuss word or something as a name. I don't think somebody's just gonna throw away money just to name somebody's child that. I could be wrong, but I just feel like if you have that kind of money you're probably not going to do that
Yeah, but
unless
I don't see the benefit of paying insane amounts of money for NFTs, and
right.
I don't see the reason why somebody would pay an insane amount of money to name a person's kid. I don't
So
see the benefit in that.
the only thing I think Time said this. I said the only thing that could be an interesting thing would be like if somebody couldn't have a child and they wanted to name somebody their child after like their grandfather or family member, but they weren't able to have kids. And then now this is a way of passing on that tradition of naming somebody after your grandfather. I could see somebody doing that. But again, it still would all depend on how much money you had to pay for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. I also came up with a question.
Well, I want to
You
hear
know,
Time's thoughts on it if he
okay,
would allow it, and then we'll go to your question.
okay.
So my answer is it depends on what baby mama say. Because yeah,
What?
you should know this, D'Angelo. You ain't getting no names across the board, no matter how much money you feel like you about to take in, if your wife ain't co-signing on this concept. So we got to throw that out there first and foremost, right?
Right. We do. We do.
So
Uh,
secondly, for me, I'm like, you know what? We could use this if somebody's willing to pay a significant amount of money just to name my child. I'm like, hey, we can pay off your debt, your college. You make sure you got a nice life, and just be like, I'm sorry, Taco Bell, that you have had a tough life with your name, but you know what? You've had a good life because of that name. So I don't know. It's one of those situations where you're like, it depends on the name. And like you said, you don't really know what the name. Are you going to know what the name is before?
No, you don't know. You have to accept it blind, and when the kid comes, they get to put the name on it, and that's what they're called. So it's a blind shoot at that point.
yeah.
D, are there any names that would be off limits to where you're like, nope, I ain't taking that money?
You wouldn't know though. If you already got paid the money,
Yeah,
you're stuck.
I already got paid the money, so
Is there any name that would make you give the money back?
no, I have to accept it. I'd have to accept it and roll
There's
on.
not one name that would make you give that back.
Nah, it's not one. Not once I agree to a number and they give me the name. But like Gary said, you'd hope that if they're gonna spend enough money on it, that they put some thought into the name that they're gonna give your kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So
like Gary said, like in the truck when we were talking about it, if somebody's paying that much money, they're probably not paying that much money to name your kid something like ridiculous. I mean, especially not an average person. Maybe a celebrity, they would do that too. But as an average person, they're not. I don't feel like they're doing that. They're not that worried about naming
Again,
my
you
child.
never know. People are buying a picture of an athlete that they're just doing NFT. Like that does nothing for them, but they're paying outstanding amounts of money. People pay outstanding amounts of money for a trading card.
Very,
That's the
very
thing is you
true.
just don't know. People just want to spend money on things. If somebody feels like they can name somebody, they might. You just never know.
Very
You might
true.
not hit that 125. Somebody might only be willing to pay $50,000 or something. So some people might not take that money. But again, that's why I was just wondering what would be your price would have to be.
And yeah. So yes, that's definitely an interesting question. I feel like I'm gonna set mine at $1 million.
what? You're lying, Tom.
Why?
You're not being realistic at all. You wouldn't take less. You're lying, Tom. You're lying. You would take a lot
I,
less than $1 million to for somebody to have
So,
naming rights to
so,
your
so
kid.
that's the so that's the whole thing. When you bring up hypotheticals, everybody's like, "Oh, I would." There's no amount of money, but if you give somebody a briefcase of $200,000 and it's in front of them, there's a lot of things they're not going to say no to. Like you're going to say yes because the money's in front of you. It's a whole different thing and seeing it in front of you versus just saying no, I wouldn't do it. Because there's multiple people that have said, oh, they wouldn't do this, they wouldn't do that for $5 million. But if you had $5 million sitting in front of them on a table, they're 100% going to do that for that $5 million.
right.
It's just it's easy to say, but if it's in person and you're looking at it, you're more than willing, you're more likely to do it than you would be not to do it.
Okay. All right. I mean, I can see that.
So I would say him hypothetically saying it, yes. But if the money was in front of him, if it was 150,000 in front of him, I think he might be swayed.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. It's just a lot that goes into thinking about that. Like, are you setting your kid up for failure, which is way more important than any amount of money?
So you could say, are you setting him up for failure or are you setting him up for success for college? Because you've already paid for the college, basically.
Right, right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it would have to be enough money to where, you could cover college, cover whatever. It's a tough, it's an interesting question. We're interested to hear what our listeners think on that one.
Yeah. That's gonna be a great one. That's a great one. I got a question for you guys.
Yeah, well, let's get your question, and we'll finally end the cinnamon show.
I
Or is it the sugar show this week? Remember?
That's been a time
definitely
show.
a sugar show.
This has been
It's
the
actually
time
it's
show.
really been the
It's
time
about
show.
time. It's about damn time. I'm gonna rename the podcast this week too. It's about damn time.
That's 100% what this podcast is about. So Kanye West finally dropped Donda. I don't know if you guys know this, but Donda is his mom's name, and he's did 3 listening shows that were completely sold out. Like, first of all, I want to talk about kind of like society's infatuation with Kanye West and why he is big, as everybody say he is. 1 and 2, I've been so conflicted listening to his music because he's actually a really good artist. But since he's quote unquote decided to dabble in the Christian genre and have Young Thug and like the Baby and have all these rappers on his album, it's been really weird listening to a Christian album with the I don't even know what kind of twist you even say. Like, I don't even know how to even say this. And I mean, you could probably help me here. I guess this is the equivalent of like Lil Nas X when he came out with the song that he came out when he crossed over into like the hip hop country. I think this is like trap gospel. I think, is this what this is, Tom? I'm not really sure what it is, but I was so conflicted listening to it because I'm like, all right, so the title of this is called Heaven and Hell or Hurricane or Jail or whatever the case may be. And I have to commend Kanye on this Donda album because you can listen to this album with your kid because there's no cursing in it because he's a Christian guy. And it's really interesting. I want to hear y'all take on it though. And what y'all thought. Like, was he ever gonna drop the album? He dropped it. What you thought about it, the project, and what's everybody's fascination with Kanye West?
So I will say I haven't actually listened to it yet. I do have it on the plan to listen to it this week. So I will give you more insight next week on what I think of the tracks. But in general, I think it's just like he's pop culture. Like he's done a little bit of everything. He's been in the news, whether it be good, bad, and then when he has a clothing line, everything sells out. His shoes are actually really comfortable. I think that's a huge part of it. You actually wear some of his shoes that are terrible, but you wear them. But that's because they're Kanye's. That's the only reason why. There's not anything else. So like he got that niche. He's got a little bit. He's dabbling in so much.
Who would you compare him to? Would you say he's a Michael Jackson of Because I mean, some
No, because
people look
Michael
at him.
Jackson didn't make clothes. So like Kanye's dabbling in so much stuff. He's trying to do
So who's
a
bigger?
little bit of
Who's bigger in
everything.
hip hop, Jay-Z or Kanye West?
Well, like long term it'd be Jay-Z, but right now it's Kanye.
Okay.
I would say to other people, I'm not a Jay-Z fan, so like that's not a good fair question to ask me because I don't usually tend to side with Jay-Z on a lot. I'm just not a fan of his. I haven't been.
Okay.
But like I
Okay.
respect him. I think he's a great artist. I think people like him and he's
And the
considered one of the greatest, but for me he's not.
thing about Kanye too is it seems like he's just dabbling in more stuff. Like, he ran for president, for goodness sake. You know what I'm saying? So like, he's just a character that's out there that he's just very interesting.
Well, I
So
also
that,
think he loves to just push the boundaries and try new things. He's not content staying in the same lane and only doing that. And I think that's what appeals to other people because he's willing to try and do other things. And whether he fails or not, like Lil Wayne even tried. Lil Wayne tried to make a rock album and people crapped on him. But he's like, I don't care. I'm gonna do it. This is what I want to do. My lane. I'm not gonna just stay in one thing what you want. And I think Kanye's doing it, and he's found success doing it. And I think that's huge because that usually doesn't happen. A lot of people don't find success going to 14 different lanes, and he's found success in all of them. And I think that's impressive. Obviously not president, but like in general terms, like he's this, and then he's a polarized figure because he says what he wants. Like he doesn't try to mince things, and like he supported President Trump because that's what he believed in, whether he right or wrong, whatever. That's his opinion. He stuck by it, did everything, and then like obviously now he's coming out with a gospel or Christian album because he's paying homage to his mom and he's doing more religious stuff. That's fine. Like people, he shouldn't be penalized for trying new things and doing new things and trying to express himself in different ways. I think a prime example who I would compare him to, or who I could compare that's artist to Kanye would be Childish Gambino because he's an actor, a rapper, and he's a writer on shows and music. So like he does, and he writes like so like I think he's multi-talented. He does multiple different things, and I would say I would compare him to Kanye. I wouldn't compare Kanye to Childish Gambino. I would say Childish Gambino has done things Kanye's done by going in different lanes and trying new things.
Okay. All right. I see you, Gary. What about you, Tom? What you got?
yeah, I'm with Gary. I haven't listened to it yet. I've been traveling a lot today, so I haven't really had much time. But or yeah, so I'll listen to it and get back to you next week. But I also wanted to ask you because this is kind of speaking about people and cultures and how they've impacted cultures. Because I don't really have anything else to add about Kanye. Candyman, have you seen it? And what did you think?
No, I don't want to hear about it till next week, so me and you both can watch it. So let's save that for
Okay,
next week.
do that next week
I
too.
want to be able to. I want to both of us see it. All three of us have seen it, and then all three of us can talk about it. So just for reference, everybody's listening. Spoiler alert: next week we will be talking about Candyman.
Okay. I know y'all want to wrap up the podcast, but I gotta ask this question because Gary, you got a little history with it. And I want your thoughts, Tom, because I think it'll be fascinating just to get your thoughts. And then I'll wrap up with mine, Gary. But we're gonna start with you because you have recently the most history. So Cheetah Talik Hill called out Usain Bolt to run the 40. He wants to race Usain Bolt. He said Usain Bolt is washed up, and he think he can get him. Do you think Cheetah will win that 40? I'm only asking you because again, you got some history with running the 40. You know how it feels, on both ends to be fast and to be slow. So
I don't
I
know.
want to
I don't know.
know.
Slow.
Oh, okay. I just want to hear your
Yeah.
thoughts, man. Who wins this race and why?
Well, I don't think it's fair to race a 40. I think you have to be in between, maybe a 60 or 80, because I don't know how many meters is 100 meters in yards. Do y'all know? I don't know. Like time, look that up while I'm talking, please, so we can
Will
get.
do.
So I don't think it'd be fair for Hussein to run a 40, just like I don't know if it'd be fair for Hill to run a 60 or 100 meters. I think the problem is they're they're Hussein Bolt doesn't gain speed till the end. He catches people. He's not out
So
the gate. Go ahead.
40 yards is 36 and a half meters.
So So it needs to be like if you did 80 yards, I think what is that? That's 670 meters.
That would be the 73 meters.
Gary,
So
Gary,
yes.
Gary. That you. Well, go ahead. Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
I'm
I'm
gonna
sorry. No,
address
no,
your
no, 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 no,
exact
no. Go ahead.
question.
Go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
I think Tariq Hill will win a 40. Hussein Bolt would win 100. So you had to find in between because Tariq Hill's not a long distance sprinter. Hussein Bolt's not a short distance sprinter in those terms. So I think Tariq Hill would win a 40. I think Hussein Bolt would win anything over 60 to 70 yards. I think he would win. And I don't think it'd be fair for Tyreek Hill to put up his Super Bowl ring versus an Olympic gold medal because Usain Bolt has like 18 of them and Tyreek Hill has one.
Yeah.
Big
What you
difference.
think? What you think, Tom?
Yeah, I'm with Gary on that one because I think that Tyreek Hill is going to be more explosive out of the blocks, I feel like. But, Usain Bolt has got that long stride. That's where he starts, making up his ground. If you did somewhere in the middle, I think Usain would still win. But, the 40 just seems almost built. Maybe that's what Tyreek Hill needs to run because, Usain Bolt is a world class runner. I'm not sure, how much older he is now if he's still able to run as fast, but he's still like a world record holder fast. So, you've seen the difference between like fast and like fast. There's a huge difference between being super fast in a sport and being Olympic fast. There's a huge difference. So maybe he still could beat him in a 40.
Okay. So watching DK Metcalf run when he ran, big guy, posted a pretty good time in the 100, and everybody was like, "Oh, he tried, he went out there, he got it." There's no doubt in my mind that Usain Bolt won't even be close to Tyreek Hill in this 40.
No.
It won't even be close. Tyreek Hill will blow him out of the water in the 40 because based on all Usain races, every race that he's ever been in, he doesn't gain speed until he hits the 40 or the 50-meter mark, and that's when he starts pulling off. So absolutely, I'm behind Talik on this. This was a smart move to even challenge him to a 40. Like, hey, bro, you watch stuff. Let's do it. Talik has a great chance of winning.
First of all, I'm gonna need you to say his name right. Who is Tyleek?
You keep saying Tyreek. It's Tyreek.
I thought I was saying Tyreek. Okay, so Tyreek. So it's like it's interesting seeing it because I know that there's two people right now that are Olympians that will argue against track speed versus football speed, and that's Lala and from The Amazing Race and Kelly. I know that they will argue like, hey, track speed's faster than football speed and all that, but Tyreek is fast wherever you put him at, and I know for a fact that Usain wouldn't come close to him in the 40. I don't care what you say.
No, not in the 40. That's why I said if you find it in between, it'd be more interesting. But right now, I don't think it's anything.
I don't know. I think we see it time and time again when like football or basketball players that are fast race against track athletes that are fast. They realize they're not as fast as what we thought. So I do understand the concept of because of his long stride, that's where he gains more speed in the end. But he's still got to be fast enough out of the blocks for that to matter. So I don't know.
I'd be interested to know if anybody's ever timed his 40-yard on one of his runs. Like, because you can count the meters. How much ground has he covered in that 40 yards? It would be when he's running his 100-meter. I'd be interested to know that.
Okay. All right. Well, just real quick, last one. I know we're still talking about it. Gardner Minshew, was he beat out by Trevor Lawrence, or was this like a really good move by the Jacksonville Jaguars? I know you a fan, Gary. You won't come out and probably publicly say, you was raised a Jacksonville Jaguar fan because you were so close. You didn't like the Jacksonville Jaguars?
I was a Panther fan growing up.
Really?
Because my parents were Jaguar fans. I didn't want to go with what my parents liked. I went against them.
Oh,
and Julius Peppers.
Carolina was the closest team?
Well, it's because they both came at the same time. And Julius Peppers was my favorite defensive player. And then I was a huge Warrick Dunn fan, so I was a Tampa Bay fan as well.
Okay. So is that a good move by Jacksonville? Getting rid of Gardner Minshew, sending them to Philly. Obviously, they got their issues over there, man,
I think it
with
was
all the injuries.
obvious. I think it was obvious that Trevor Lawrence is going to be the starter day one. I don't think that was ever an issue.
Obvious.
Yeah, there was no reason for them to say there was going to be a competition because you drafted a number one. He's been the most talented prospect since Andrew Luck. Like it's just, it was undoubted he was going to be the starter, and there was no reason for you to even try and put it up a show that it wasn't going to be. And I think everybody knew Minshew was probably going to be gone. I don't know if they thought he was going to trade him. I thought they might have just kept him as a backup in case something got hurt. Because even if he is a backup, he's a capable backup.
All right, guys. So I just, I don't want to mean to cut off this discussion, but I just Googled Usain Bolt 40-yard dash. Very first thing that pops up is an article where apparently in 2019, Usain Bolt was at an NFL game day experience. This man went out there in some sweatpants, regular running shoes, and tied the fastest ever NFL 40-yard dash at 4.22. It like casually. So he would destroy Tyreek Hill in a 40-yard dash.
But again, that's probably when he was in the heyday of training.
That was like 8 years ago.
That was
bro.
2 years ago, 2019.
That was 2 years ago, man. With no training, he just gonna jump out there.
He just ran.
We've seen this. We've seen this before, Tom. We've
This
seen
man
this
didn't
before.
have spikes on. He didn't have
Tom. We
gear
have
on.
seen this before, Tom. Somebody that said that they could just jump out there and do it without doing anything.
Tim Tebow.
Yeah,
Like
we've seen this before.
And he got cut.
Yep, sitting at home. Same way with Kelvin Benjamin. He thought that he could do the same thing. He's now also sitting at home. So we get it. We understand what you're saying in terms of somebody used to being able to doing something versus them doing it
I'd
now.
watch it though.
That was just 2 years ago, though.
I'd still watch it. I'm not paying pay-per-views to watch it, but I'd watch it.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you something. I cycled this weekend, and I cycled with my wife. But before that, I took a couple weeks off. Taking 2 weeks off from cycling will set you back X amount of days or weeks, depending on how many, getting your cycling legs back. So taking 2 years off from track and then talking about getting out there as the fastest man in the world, I don't even think his hamstring and quads are hold up.
So just before you close this out, Time, just like he said, he took 2 weeks off and cycling, and he's talking about all the cycling stuff. That's how I feel when he dishes golf. I don't know anything about cycling. Nobody cares about cycling.
Gary, you don't know shit about golf, and you play it. You don't know anything about golf. You know nothing about golf. In fact, I didn't even know you own clubs.
I do. I own clubs.
I don't. So this is how I know, Tom. He cares nothing about you and the friends that he invited out there for this fantasy draft. He's never come to visit me and was like, "Hey, bro, let's go play some golf," or even remotely even pointed us in that direction on something.
No, you don't play golf, and you will never play. So I would never bring it up with you.
Tom doesn't look like the golfer to me.
Yeah, I'm not a golfer.
He said
I
guess
because I'm white. That's why he asked me if I wanted to play.
That's
said he wanted to golf. Sir, probably the best golfer is Tiger Woods.
No, I actually don't mind going, and I'll hang out and like I said, I'm good for about 9 holes. But then after 9 holes, I'm usually like, okay, I'm good. I got my feel for the day. But it is and that's mostly because I enjoy like being at least able to compete when I'm doing something. And unless you got money and time to play golf, mostly money, you ain't going to be able to be very good at golf.
So then why do you play basketball? Because you're not good at it.
Well, well, I'm at least good enough to where I can. Oh, God. Speaking of this man, he
mute,
ran from a challenge.
Muted you. He muted Time.
I'll let him talk so he can end it.
Who's going to end the podcast? All right. Well, we appreciate you tuning in for another episode of the Cinnamon Sugar Podcast. And we just want to make sure, even though both of our host friends that are on this show, Cinnamon Sugar, like to duck challenges, like Gary ducked my basketball challenge this weekend.
Never.
Please continue to stay faithful. One day those challenges will happen. And we appreciate you tuning in. We out.
We out.
You are now listening to the Cinnamon and Sugar Podcast featuring D'Angelo Williams and Gary Barnage. You are now listening to the Cinnamon and Sugar Podcast featuring D'Angelo Williams and Gary Barnage. You are now listening to